Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back for the third game of the day. And the FSL Circuit AoV. This is the Thailand qualifiers, and we are in the matchup between Lunaris and Day9 realme.
Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna be starting out with a couple of bans towards the Florentino and Richter. Yeah, Richter on the side of, who's this? Pink Panther. Right, so these will be the first two bans along with the Quick 6 and the Zip as well. So I think we have already seen how Zip can be potentially dangerous for opponent teams. So I think this is kind of standard ban we have going on between the two teams right now, right?
Yeah, and I think that is an Omen picked up. I'm not sure if that's a skin.
No, that's a Volkov.
Oh, yeah, Volkov picked up. I don't really have Volkov skins at all. I don't think I have any skins for him. So yeah, that's a Volkov getting picked up. We do see a Valheim getting picked up as well. A lot of heroes in fancy dresses for the side of Lunaris. Day9 realme. We're going to be picking up the Hayate as well as the Maja. We've seen what Maja can do, but we also have seen what it takes to play for Maja. You need a little bit of a follow-up. You cannot expect her to just go in and do all the job by herself. That's why you have the Hayate as well. But Hayate is really late game. So I do sense a really late game draft coming for Day9 realme. For now, at least.
Well, interesting. I mean, Volkov and Valheim, they are pretty strong as well. I think it's a very tanky lineup on the side of Lunaris, right? Varus and Volkov, they have very strong survival skills, right? In the matchups. Volkov's ultimate allows him to kind of escape death. Varus is just
for a set amount of time. Like you have that invulnerability, you have that godlike mode, and then after that, you do have a couple of seconds before. If you do take any damage, you kind of just reset the fight, or rather you go back to base, you reset, and you come back in.
So it will be interesting to see what kind of junglers they kind of pick up on both sides as well. They are very tanky on both sides. I think Maja, not say tankiest, but very good sustain. So she can really last quite well in the fight. So on the side of Day9, I think both these teams, they are gonna go for the long game, go for the late game as well.
I mean, you do have I would say so far coming into the first phase of the draft, Lunaris definitely has a very basic draft per se, easy to execute, not too complicated. You have a Valheim straightforward. You don't need too much of a setup. Towards the late game, he's absolutely a terror to face up against because with 1v1 you have that mini stun. You can critically get instant lockdown by Valheim and perma lockdown as well. So that's something that you definitely want to avoid. And then you also have Day9 realme that has a Marlock. You have your ultimate to drop in. Your first skill is just so painful. It does pure damage, goes through armor. He's got tankiness because of the soul steal as well. So you've got a lot of sustain on both sides, like you said. But I think it's the second phase of draft that's going to decide, because so far first half pretty balanced out. You do see Maldum, Zenio getting banned out. So for the side of Day9 realme, they're removing a lot of these utility heroes, tanky heroes that can soak up a lot of damage and they can re-engage. Whereas for the side of Lunaris, they're banning a lot of bursty heroes like Florentino, Richter. You ban out the Quick Knock. Now you ban out the Darcy as well. So all these heroes getting banned out. It's pretty straightforward per se.
Yeah, but I mean, if we take a look at the first three picks on both sides, right, in terms of laning phase, I think it looks slightly better for the side of Lunaris, in my opinion. I mean, Valheim against Hayate, the MM versus MM, fight.
Yeah.
Valheim can do a lot more damage in a short amount of time compared to Hayate.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If we are in the same position, because Hayate is very based on positions, based on the skills, right? So if Valheim actually displaces Hayate quite well, I think she can squeeze in a lot of damage on what's Nongmin.
Yeah, but the thing about Hayate is that she does have, or rather, if they want to play Hayate, they do have more flexibility in terms of the way they want to play. They can
very mobile.
Yeah, they can do a little bit of a split push. Valheim, you don't really have too much of that flexibility. He's as straightforward as he gets. You go in, you do all your burst damage, and you have that constant DPS getting pulled out. For Hayate, it's amazing split push power. You have the flexibility of going in and disengaging if you want to. The downside, obviously, is that he doesn't really have too much of a sustain as compared to Valheim. He doesn't have CC as well. Whereas on the side of Lunaris, I think what they are looking here is a very squishy lineup for the last two picks. Something like an Alice at Quixie, which you see a soft lock coming in as well. So they are going to lock that in. And this is, just a backup statement to why they ban out all these heroes with really high burst. They have a really squishy lineup. I don't think they have too much to thank. But we have seen that it is possible to play with a squishy lineup, especially in the first game, where we actually saw, what's the team again? I think it was actually
Surimu?
no, Space Gamer,
SGM,
Mamacita.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
like SGM, they play a very squishy lineup, but they are able to manage the fight really well, especially with the Ignis. They did it with the Yawn, they did it with the Alice as well. So now they're gonna do the exact same thing, but in this case, they have something a little bit more. I would say. I wouldn't say sustained. I would say in terms of lockdown, they have a lot more lockdown because of the Quixie. They have the Valheim, they have the Alice, they have the Veras as well. So that is the difference as compared to SGM's draft. Whereas on the side of Day9 realme, well, a little bit more straightforward. Very tanky because of the Marlock Marlock Rogue as well as the Maja. They have an Annette to support as well. The CC, good support in terms of all-rounder, in terms of damage, in terms of zoning. And then you have a Hayate to do that split push. So we covered all we want to cover about Rogue and Maja in the previous games. Let's talk about Marlock. That ultimate of his. If he can land a huge jump onto the back line, I think that is really going to be huge because that is what they really need. My concern is with the Alice, they can kind of just drop the Sunshine with the friendship. They have more extra movement speed for all the teammates, and they can just run out of it.
I'm just really curious on the setup on Day9. How they're gonna set up their team fights here, because you have Annette who can actually use the wing cuffs to kind of chain people up, right? So that gives you a primary target for Marlock's ulti to come in. If not, you're gonna be looking at maybe Hayate who's just kiting from the back lines and all of this. So along with that, I think as a team, probably Day9 seems like a stronger. They have the stronger draft on my opinion, because I mean they have Maja who's super mobile as well. They have Annette to kind of disengage the fight if they need, or even better, they can actually have Annette to lock them in. Into potentially Marlock's ultimate or Marlock's cleave, which is gonna deal a lot of damage. And the best thing about Day9's draft so far is that they have very good sustain because they're also tanky. On the side of Lunaris, I mean they have a decent lineup as well, but I don't know. I don't feel it as strong, or perhaps too many varieties or options as given to Day9 itself. I mean, Lunaris, they have this Volcav and they have Veras as well. I think it really comes down to how these teams position themselves in the team fights.
I agree.
It can go both ways. It's beautiful, but we have to see who is better in positioning their members.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lunaris, like you said, it's not as flexible in terms of Day9's draft, but it is a lot more bursty. So it really comes down to how Day9 realme is going to manage that burst in what we saw as compared to the previous game, where we saw Mamacita's team really do really well in terms of not giving the opponents a chance at all to come into the fight, right? You have a lot of zoning too with the Ignis, you have a lot of zoning too with the Yawn, and you put that question to the opponent. We are just gonna go to your tower, use the Yawn to burst down the tower. If you come in, you have to go to an Ignis skill, and you have to also carry your backline because of Quick Nut. In this case, no Quick Nut, which is really good for Day9 realme, because now they don't have to worry about any of these heroes jumping in. If you look at Lunaris lineup, they don't have someone that can dive on the backline, but they have a lot of damage up front.
Well, I think this if we were to have a level 1 team fight, I think probably would go the way of Lunaris. If they don't land the appropriate skills here, Vera is going to be pressured by our Annette.
Oh, this is bad.
Ooh, okay, so actually gets the buff here. So Shining Light, good job here, but it looks like there's no other things that they're going to be taking out here, Day9. Just going to leech some experience as they're going to be pushed back into their own jungle here. Narc is gonna be checking out, and they are gonna spot out 2 members here of Day9.
Yeah, I mean that's the good thing about having a Marlock early into your game. You have the cleave, pure damage as well. It doesn't have mana restraints. You can just go into your opponent's jungle. Really big AoE skill as well. So if you can get a lucky swing in, you might be able to steal something. You know, you do decent damage in the opponent's jungle. I mean, look at Shining Light. Because of that early engagement, she's down to quarter HP. Not a really big issue for them, but it is still better to have your jungler at full HP.
That's right. You can see how Shining Light's positioning is as they have a scuffle in the middle here. So I think this is a bad fight for Lunaris to take, because Day9, they have the net who's able to kind of do the wing cuffs and catch out 2 members to space them. As you can see, so Tamon here just gonna run in. That shield, look at it, essentially close to another quarter health on the life bar, right? Pink Panther gonna be making some rotations as well. They really want to focus on this mid. This is where the control comes in. Shining Light gonna be catching up Sharon, but not much damage here as Pink Panther trying to add on. So
I think behind early game just does very little damage. I mean, that's something that we all know. Like he early game, he has the CC, but no damage. So he's farming towards that late game stage. He's just gonna come to mid lane, harass a little bit, share a little bit of that mid farm, but more importantly, put a little bit of pressure just to make sure that, you know, Lunaris just stays ahead in terms of those wave matches.
Right, so still pretty even on farm here. Sharon gonna be able to catch out 2 members if they get it. Wind Cup here gonna be locking down on both. Nak is gonna be falling if they catch this. But yeah, it's just a poke here. As all 5 members are all gathered around the middle and river as well. So this is gonna be securing the AD on the side of Day9. Very good rotations here. As you can see, Marja left all alone at the top, and this is gonna have, oh, actually that's weird. This is not gonna have a gold advantage.
Oh yeah, I think it's because of the fact that, you know, when they were taking the Abyssal Dragon, I mean, Lunaris is just more focused on wave management. Like
Yui might get caught out here. Bad positioning, actually gets hit by 2 members of Day9 here. So
I'm not too worried.
Oh,
Actually,
no.
I'm not too worried.
Longming here is going to be actually caught out. A nice stun here. This is a chance to engage. Pink Panther gonna have to lay the damage in. A nice escape with the ultimate by Marlock. So like right here, all alone, he's gonna have to pay with his life.
Yeah, I think the vocab was a little bit too aggressive. I think, you know, if Sakura just stepped back a little bit, he could have just walked away. But I think that he saw a little bit of that opportunity with his ulti, so he actually went into the coup, tried to go in with the kill, but, you know, that's a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, I think the draft of Lunaris is, like you said, it's starting to show a little bit. Other than the mistake coming from the vocab in top lane, coming to the bot and middle, you can see the clear wave a little bit more decently because of the early game.
Oh, nice turning thing there.
But at the same time, they do have a lot more CC.
That's right. Niuin and Nak, I think they are facing a pretty challenging lane. It's hard to deal with the cleave from Marlock as well. So this spells a little bit better on the side of Day9. They have a slight advantage here, going at around 6k. Oh no, 600 gold.
Yeah.
Right?
But that 600 is because of the Abyssal Dragon and they get the first blood as well.
And it looks like they're gonna be able to catch out Shining Light if they do it. Alright, Tamon actually falling low, but the shield comes in. Shining Light, I'm not sure that's the correct move here. Looks like there's gonna be a wasted Marlock ulti as Yumi lays down her ulti as well. And it looks like Pink Panther is gonna be the first one to fall in this fight as Shining Light tries to re-engage here, but it's gonna be a 1v3 situation, 2v3 situation as Nut falls as well. So it looks like Valkev trying to clean the backline, actually gets Tamon here. Very good play by Park Jira. So she's going to continue moving in, a very forceful show of power, but the lanes not really working in their favor as all 3 lanes are actually pushing in. So you can see now on the side of Day9, Bong Bong is actually going to be heading up to clear the wave here.
Yeah, I think Momo did a really good job at making sure that her team had a chance in the fight because she's always in the front line. She's trying to catch out both Quixie as well as the allies and push them back a bit. She turned attention down to the Valheim, kind of force him back a bit. So it really comes down to how, you know, they are going to be able to zone out Lunaris because Lunaris, like we said, a lot of frontal damage, but really squishy heroes. They cannot afford to take like a creep up front. They cannot afford to fight, you know, face to face with the rope. They have to worry about net skill as well.
Shining Light here laying down the damage, and it looks like Nongmin is just gonna have to use the ultimate again just to escape.
Two times in a row.
Yep, as Shining Light and the rest of the team are moving along the road. Tamon here now at level 9, same on par in terms of pace with Shining Light, but it looks like the towers not really in favor here. As bottom lane, they actually get the kill on Pink Panther. Valheim, as we already know, is a very squishy character. So right now they punish that aggressiveness.
Yeah, good timing on the Fenrir as well. You realize Hayate didn't manage to pick up his Fenrir. He's already got his boots as well. So that is a 6-minute Fenrir, or rather 5 minutes 50 seconds if you discount the fact that he got that kill as well. So a 5 minutes 50-second fan rate, not too bad. Decent farm considering that he's up against a
And
Valheim.
not, he's getting caught out here. The stun misses, and it looks like, okay,
I think it's fine.
disengage.
That's a good thing about having an Alice. You don't have to worry about getting caught up too much because she can always drop the friendship, and you guys can just get out safely.
That's right. Alright, so this looks like it's gonna be a play to try and secure space to get the AD here. But I think Shining Light gonna be the first one to start this fight as Sharon gets the stun in. It looks like, oh wow, come on, that is a lot of damage. They are all grouped up together, not too good as the Mala ulti lands as well. The Q comes in and Lover actually gets the first kill of this exchange. Lover, really low on health.
I think the behind last shot almost managed to get him to pass him.
Tamon once again very aggressive. I love this Tamon here. This one is going into the books as a kill, probably not. Right, so Tamon really aggressive, showing the power of Rock here. I think this is the way you should be playing Rock. You know, you have your access to a shield, essentially gives you close to half a life more. Right, team fights Pink Panther, gonna get a chunk of his health taken away here, as they're still trying to secure space on the side of Day9 to get the AD.
I like how they're using the Rook right here. So someone who's really aggressive. Although you do see a Rook coming up front at you because he's not exactly the most surprising hero. He doesn't really have a jump. He doesn't really have a skill that can lock you down. But he does have a lot of speed as well as clear wave. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to clear the wave as quickly as possible.
Well, Pink Panther may be getting caught out here as the jump from the team happens and they do secure the kill. Lover getting the best of this exchange. So far, let's take a look at Lover's KDA here. 301. Well, along with the Fenris talent, wow, it's really good. So they already have the Frost Cape as well. So this is a good pace for our Lover here.
Hayate definitely doing a really good job at not only farming but making sure that he's part of all the action as well. One issue for MMs is that, you know, sometimes they tend to just keep on farming.
Park Jira might be in a pinch here as there are two members of Day9 coming in. They are trying to secure this ulti. Park Jira, can she pull this off? I don't think so. She's gonna pay with her life here as Tamon actually gets the kill. So, I mean, I think the rotations on the side of Day9 haven't been the best, but I don't see how much more they can be doing at this point in time, because the lane pressures from all three lanes really heavy. As Shining Light and Pink Panther, they are gonna be trying to secure this tower for themselves. The Mala ulti drops in. Normally doesn't catch anyone, but they do get the cleave off. So this is gonna be true damage for the next strike if they get it. Nark here gonna be caught out if she makes a bad play.
The ambush. They get the Rook right behind the middle turret as well. They nearly get the ambush. If Veras was actually a little bit more greedy, tried to go for the Might Golem, that could have been a really bad play coming from Shining Light, but fortunately, you know, she does get out of Tamon's reach.
That's right. So 1-for-1 exchange in terms of towers right now. A 3k gold advantage going to the side of Day9. I think they are doing slightly better in terms of lane rotation so far. Pink Panther not really having the best game, 0-3-0. Going for the magic build, AP build here.
Yeah, I think they do want a little bit more burst, you know, something a little bit, I wouldn't say upfront, but a little bit more direct. And Lunaris just doing just that. They have the rank breaker on the Volcarf already, so they have the Omni Arms. That those two are really key items on the hero.
Converging in the mid lane here, trying to catch out Shining Light, of course. Nark just throwing out her stuns as and when she can. I think both teams have very good scouting ability. You have the stun from Alice on the side of Lunaris, as well as Sharon on Annette, able to throw out the wind cuffs as well. And it looks like there's a lot of action happening in the middle as they try to engage. It looks like Tamon pays off with the aggressiveness. Yamacha jumps in, bong, but actually falls down close to half health. Oh, a nice outie by Valheim, but it doesn't amount to much. There's no follow-up here. Shining Light actually gets the kill. No! Lover makes it out. Tamon actually gets the return kill of Shining Light here. So it looks like it's gonna be a 5v4 situation, 5v3 situation, as all three lanes are being pushed in. Two lanes being pushed in here.
They get the top tower as well, the second tier top tower, because of the scripts coming in, and this is the advantage that you get. Oh, he tries to go into Storm, gets the stun, and but that is just, you know, buying time for the Rook to take the mid tower. You know, the thing about Marlock is that he has a really cool, low cooldown on Storm, and you know, every 45 seconds he does get it. Looks like there's gonna be a pause, but yeah, a little bit update into the game. 3 towers taken. You know, 2 Abyssal Dragons for the side for realme, whereas on the side of Lunaris they've only got 1, and obviously not doing too good, and 6k behind, and potentially going to be increasing that gap because it looks like realme are going to pick up that Abyssal Dragon a little bit uncontested as well.
That's right. I mean, so far, I think at this stage of the game, Day9, they do have the potential to just go and rush for the DS, get the Dark Slayer buff, get the Drake as well. I think this is their game to win. But if you take a look at the side of Day9, right? If you take a look at Bong Bong's equipment, so she actually has the Tome. So the Tome, I think, is really, really strong for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, they actually cut out the sustain from Volcav on the side of Lunaris, right? So Park Ji-ra, while she has an ultimate and she can sustain for a bit longer, it essentially cuts down that portion by half, right? And the rest of the team don't really have lifesteal per se, right? And behind, while they're going for the magic AP build,
Yeah, I mean, the boomstick is nice, but
yeah, it's really quite squishy at this point in time. They're all really squishy, and on the side of Day9, they have really tanky lineups. Like, they have the Malok who can take damage for the rest of the team. They have Rogue who can just dive in and deal so much damage. So this to me is a huge problem on the side of Lunaris.
I think to highlight that, it's just, you know, in a nutshell, you have Lunaris who has a lot of burst damage, but not enough against the lineup of realme right now. Realme is just doing a really good job at not only, you know, soaking up this damage, but they are managing the fights very decently. You know, having the Malok in front, you know, if he needs to disengage, he uses Storm to get out. He also has the option to engage with the Storm. And then, you know, if you have the Maja in front, you know, have her soak up all those burst damage. And even if you talk about burst damage, they're not, you know, laying all at one shot, which is kind of the issue that I feel Lunaris is having right now, is that if you want to have, the reason why it's called burst damage is because you blow someone up. You immediately remove someone off of the game. But we don't see that happening. You see the Valheim going in, coming out. You know, Crixie does a second skill, uses her ultimate, and then gets out as well. You have the Reras that is like a little bit non-coordinated. A lot of team issues, you know, in terms of communication, I feel it's going wrong for Lunaris at this point. Like, 10 minutes in, they definitely can be doing a lot better.
I think it's just the choice of timings for abilities, because based on what has happened so far, Nak actually blows the stun too early in team fights, right? Even before the fight happens, the stun has been thrown. And what happens is when the stun has been thrown, that is actually when Day9 starts to engage. So you already have a lack of one stun. Crixie, being played by Nui as well, also throws a stun out too early. So the thing for the stuns is that it sets the fight for Shining Light and Pink Panther and Park Ji-ra to jump in as well. Because if you can catch more than 2 or 3 members of Day9 at the same time with your stuns in consecutive timing, I think this means Lunaris wins the fight. But because they have been using the skills too early, it kind of disables and cripples their own team. So I think they want to kind of time the fights better in terms of, if you do use your stuns early, try and disengage before the actual fight starts, right? Because when Tamon comes in, you have to try and get the stuns in, be it your Alice ulti or you be with Crixie, right? And if you can get your stuns at the correct time, Pink Panther and Park Ji-ra and Shining Light, the 3 of them have enough burst to actually take out the teams before they can get the sustain in, before they can get the heals in, you know, and before they can disengage from the fight. So while Tamon has been aggressive and that has worked out for them so far, it is also a potential for Tamon to kind of overextend. If Tamon goes in, can't get the kill, and they get the stuns on the back line, that's it. Tamon can't win a 1v5 fight.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. But now Abyssal Dragon can be taken out not only by Day9, but they could potentially go for the Dark Slayer if they want to. They're definitely way more farmed up. You do see that 7k gold coming in from Day9 by realme, whereas on the side of Lunaris, they are lagging a little bit. You know, jungle getting invaded, Sage Golem, you know, out of sight, everything going wrong, but they still have a way in back into this game. They do get the Sage Golem onto Shining Light, probably gonna scout out the Dark Slayer for a bit. They know it's cleared up. Maja's pushing down the bot lane as well. If you are Day9, you must be feeling pretty good. But like you said, a lot of warning signs for the Rogue and the rest of Day9. If they engage badly, it still could turn really it could turn into a nasty situation for them.
That's right. As you can see, I think if you noticed just now, so Nak actually got her hands on a Tomb of Reaper as well. So this means the stun comes in with a 3-man stun here. This is disaster for the side of Lunaris here as they get taken out. So 2 members immediately fall here. All 5 members of Day9 still surviving very well. This spells DS straight away. So this is an uncontested Dark Slayer, and this means a DS buff plus a break. And with the amount of damage that they can do so far, they are sustaining. And Leather is actually getting killed up already. This is pretty bad.
Yeah.
This looks bad for
just when we said the winning condition for the side of Lunaris, and then you get Nomi, who does an insane play
Storm,
coming
man.
in. The 3-man Storm. They get 2 on the cores as well. Not just, it's not an Alice, it's not like I mean, if you think about every single one, they feel is a core because they have so much in terms of the burst damage that they need. But it is what it is. Now they're gonna go bot lane. I don't think
Pajira
Vocab.
probably not gonna survive this fight here. Gonna try and sustain a little bit more of the ultimate, but not gonna happen here. So it doesn't look too good. I don't know. To me, it seems like it's game set here. All they have to do is kind of push in the lanes at the same time.
Yeah.
Even if they can't take the mid or the top final turret, they can kind of burn down the towers at this point of time. Sharon here getting...
They can do it because
Oh,
you know,
Sharon.
without the Vocab, they don't have someone that can really soak up damage now. They've only got the Varus.
That's right, and Varus can't stand against 1v5s, right? So Nui, okay, so the stun has been thrown out. I think they got to come and reset the entire fight. Trying to have the fight happen before the skills move down. But of course, Day9 not gonna let that happen. Huge pokes there on the side of Leather as they get out. Pink Panther with less than half health. And now the Drake has been dropped down. Bottom lane tower, it doesn't look too good as it looks like Tamon is trying to rush in. So this is what I'm talking about. Nui actually gets a bunch of damage onto the side of Day9. This is what they should be doing. Just lacking the stun there to kind of lock down and get additional damage. So Shining Light, so far decent positioning. I want to see how she tries and gets it in. Oh, nice jump here, Shining Light. They do get a kill on Bong Bong. No, actually gets out with the ultimate as well. So Sharon with the shield and with wind cuffs actually gets the disengage for the team. So really well done by both sides so far. But I think perhaps Lunaris, they want to communicate a little better. When Shining Light jumped in, I think the rest of the team should be there, especially Pink Panther, to kind of dish out the damage, because that was a specific point of time in which they could have cleared at least 1 or 2 members of Day9, and that would have changed the fight definitely.
Yeah, but now Annette might be running into a little bit of trouble. Sharon gonna run straight into a 4-man Lunaris into the bottom river. But yeah, I absolutely agree and echo your thoughts right there. I think Nag dropped a really good ultimate bot lane, but it's just really good instinct coming up from Day9 to just avoid the fight. The thing about now is that whenever Alice drops an ultimate, they just run out of it. They know what's right.
Exactly.
They just run out and
so
they're
the
safe.
disengage is really strong. They know when to take the team fights, and that's a very strong point on the side of Day9. So once again, the AD is going to be taken, and this is an enrage AD, which means the one who gets the buff is going to be revived. Well, not revived, but extra health increases, right? Dark health here as Nag actually gets taken out straight away. Pajira not going to be able to stand up to the damage as well. And Tamon getting a good chunk of damage out, but he's close to dying actually. But looks like Pink Panther is going to be the last one to get cleaned up. And 4 members or 5 members here. So it's going to be an ace on the side of Day9. Really good job, and looks like this game is over.
Yeah, Tamon definitely MVP of the fight. They're getting not only a quad kill, but also, she does manage to secure that Missile Dragon. So that's gonna be a huge one. One more Storm just to show off, and there's gonna be one game in the bag for Day9 realme. So not too bad. Kinofu there kind of predicted that win. They did have a little bit more of a balanced draft as compared to that risky play coming from Lunaris. Looks like being risky, or rather playing it really bossy, doesn't really mean that you do get the game in the bag.
Yeah, I think that the main difference was just the understanding of when to take and when not to take team fights. I think Day9 really showed real class there. They knew when they should step in, and like I mentioned before, it was just the lack of skills at the correct time, right? So Nag, Nui, and Nag and Nui, they do have the disengage, or they at least have slight lockdowns. I wouldn't consider it lockdowns, like Alice's ulti wouldn't kind of stop you, right? But Nui actually had the stun with a second skill as well, and this was like one trick, right? If you missed it, it's over.
And not only that, Volkov actually went for, he's actually kind of a glass cannon Volkov as well. So in fact, they don't have someone
sustain.
to they don't have sustain, they don't have someone that's in front, they can't peel, you know, they don't have someone to soak up all the damage. Yes, a ton of damage, but you know, if you can't you know, link up your skills, you can't do enough damage in the short amount of time needed to bring down any members of Day9, which we saw happen in the last team fight. They did not take out a single member at all, and instead they got wiped out completely, got destroyed by the Rogue, played by Tomo, so she did a really good job there. But yeah, pretty much GG, well played by Day9. Once again, they've got the first game currently in hands. Always nice to have game 1 in your hand because it does ease up a little bit of pressure coming to second game. We knowing that you have, you know, that safety netting, but I'm sure that Day9 not only want the safety netting, they want to close that game out. So it looks like we might go for a short little break. When we are back, we'll bring you game 2 between Lunaris and Day9. Alright, so we are finally back for the second game of Lunaris and Day9 realme, and obviously we saw Day9 realme coming up in the first game. Second game,
really strong.
Yeah, strong is an understatement. I think they played what was one of the more commanding games, especially against a really strong lineup in Lunaris. We broke it down during the break as well. You know, it really came down to not only the way they play, item choices as well, timing of engage, a lot of factors to consider, and that just says how good Day9 is as a team, because I think Lunaris didn't really make too much of a mistake early game. I think early game they were the ones
they were holding their own, right, in the early game. But I think
even a couple of times they kind of forced the Marlock back on the passive ultis as well. But now let's just jump into the second game. We do see a Florentino as well as a Zenil getting banned out. As on the side of Day9, they don't want to play against those two supports that we talk of. So Zip as well as Krizik getting banned out. They will pick up the bottom as well as Tell on us. Very different draft as compared to the first game.
But still a very painful one. So I mean, we have seen the previous games, right? So what Baldum wants to do is just kind of stand in front, soak up the damage. If he's able to displace a couple of the members on the opponent's side with the ultimate, that's great. Or he can get the toss up. Tell on us, job is really simple. Stay the back line, dish out the damage, and you know, Tell on us towards the late game is a really scary character because the amount of burst she has. Yeah.
So kind of similar to what we saw coming into game 1, where they had the Marlock. I would say a completely different draft, but same concept.
Yeah, same concept, right?
You replace the Marlock with the bottom, someone who's really tanky, decent CC, while prison, can soak up damage, does decent damage as well. You got Tell on us, similar to the Hayate, or that can do damage from afar. But who's going to replace the Rogue, we'll have to see. Whereas Lunaris, they pick up the Krignak, Bjorn, and Marja. Once again, a lot of bursts in the Yorn and Krignak, but they do swap out something a little bit more different. They do pick up a Marja as well. The good thing about Marja is she doesn't have to go tank items. Her kit itself allows her to be a tank.
That's right.
She can just focus on damage items and still deal it out. But I think the one thing that they are looking to rectify compared to the first game, or rather in the first game, is they didn't have a frontliner. I think the Volkov
they needed more tankiness.
I think the Volkov was the right pick. But you know, if you look at the items, items that they went, they were glass cannon, not even the frost cape armor. If you compare to what Day9 had, even the Hayate we saw.
I think perhaps they were considering to get pickoffs instead of team fights.
Absolutely.
So the glass cannon would have made sense there, but I guess perhaps this is the first time they play against Day9. First time you meet each other on the battlefield, so you are kind of guessing, okay, this is perhaps their certain play style, right? So now they kind of have a good grasp of how Day9 plays. They like to go for team fights, and they know when to enter and exit team fights.
I think it's not only team fights. I think the very first action that, you know, kind of tilted Lunaris rotation and kind of slowed them down is the Marlock actually invading that jungle.
Yes.
You know, it kind of slowed down the jungle take of Lunaris, kind of slowed down the whole momentum, you know, and it kind of disrupted the flow of the rotation. And because of that, it put away their mid lane. And with that slight advantage, it gave Day9 a little bit more, I would say, freedom in the Rogue, because he was farming way faster and he could go into team fights. And once Day9 took the first initiative to gank, that is completely against what Lunaris have in mind. Lunaris needs to be the first one to gank with the aggressive draft, with that aggressive mindset. But instead, Day9, you know, they flip the tables, and once you lose that momentum in such an aggressive lineup, there's no plan B. There is no way you can tell your team, okay, let's just play passively, because the more passively you play, the lesser your burst damage will have effect on real nice draft.
That's right. So I mean, it was just rinse and repeat for sure for Day9, right? So they already figured out the formula to how to not only slow down Lunaris farm, right, and also to get get additional farm for themselves with the additional kills, the additional objectives. They get the jungle buffs as well. So this is something that Lunaris, I think they are trying to figure out with this next draft. They do need some more tankiness in their lineup, but I also feel they need more control, because at this point of time, the only person who has a stun on the team is going to be Yon. But on the side of Day9, they have Liliana, they have Baldom as well.
Yeah.
Now they have Darcy, right? So Darcy, not necessarily a stun, but
high burst.
Yeah, high burst, and I think there's also the potential of lockdown with the ultimate as well.
Yeah,
right?
I think Liliana is someone who's really irritating to deal with. Someone I would like to see is actually an Aram. I think I think an Aram actually does really well in the draft of Day9, although they've already picked the Liliana, so I'm not sure if they want to go for an Aram, because the Aram is kind of flexible. She can go mid, she can go top, although nowadays with the fighter tanks and going up to the top lane, you do see more Arams top lane. But it looks like it's going to be Roxy, which is fine as well. Roxy does well against Yena, or doesn't do well, but she can hold
potential to do well, right?
Yeah,
depending on how the game plays out.
She doesn't lose out that lane per se. She doesn't lose to Yena. I would definitely love to see an Aram. I think Aram would do well here because of the fact that she can actually lock down Maja. She does have enough harassment against the Yena. She does have enough sustain and lifesteal against the Krignak. So if the Krignak jumps in, immediately ultimate, and then what do you do next? Because
they want to remove the Krignak option, right?
Yeah,
so,
correct.
So the moment he or she comes
the Roxy just goes in as well.
That's
So
right.
both is fine. Both is fine. Both the Roxy and Aram, to me, it's fine. Once again, we do see the Tain getting banned out. I can kind of understand why, but at the same time, I'm going to remain my stance. I think it's not worthy of a ban, but he is still very useful. Maybe it's something in Thailand servers that they have seen, like all the Thai servers Thai players are really good in Tain. So that is something that we have to consider to factor in as well.
But what's interesting to me is that I think on the side of Lunaris, they have the Teamy. So Teamy has the potential to kind of change the tides in the fight, right? With the ultimate as well. This essentially means a double Krignak ultimate. If the fight drags on for that
10
point of
seconds
time, right? So Teamy's role in this team fight is to soak up damage first and foremost, but also to kind of continue the team fight if possible with the revive as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, being a bro is definitely one of the strongest ultimates in this game itself, because not only do you get revived as well. Sure, you don't get, of course, the full health and all of this, but that should be enough, along with reducing the movement speed of opponents as well.
Yeah, I think when you reduce that movement speed, it's quite a big factor, because it kind of sets up for not only the Yena but Maja as well, because Maja, especially when all your heroes are kind of slow in AoE, it does a really good job for the Yon as well, because the Yon can just focus on firing when they're slow. You get the AoE with the arrows. So yeah, all in all, I think that draft just looks so much more complete compared to the first game. That being said, what are your predictions for game 2?
I think if Shining Light actually gets the farm fast enough and they can secure a slight advantage in the start of the game, I think this is a game for Lunaris, right? Krignak in comparison to Darcy as a jungler, early game, yeah, Krignak is probably one of the stronger ones, right? So we can see bot lane, we have the MM battle. Yon against the Telenas, not really in Yon's favor in my opinion. I mean, Telenas's range is damn insane, so this is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to playstyle. If the Yon is aggressive enough, he can do clear speed. He doesn't have to worry about Telenas. In this case, we do see Pink Panther doing a really good job at shoving it against the Telenas. He has support on the team as well, and just all in all, a really good wave management. But can they keep that up? Because this is what exactly we saw in game 1. The issue was that first rotation coming out from your jungle is going to dictate that game, because you have a Darcy who's up against a Krignak.
As Nui facing a 2v1 challenge in the middle lane, still surviving quite well, as they have managed to poke out attention from the rest of the team on Day9. So this means Krignak is up and running at level 4, and she's ready to come and make moves here as Bong Bong along with Tamon, if I'm not wrong, right? Tamon is on the Darcy. So this is going to create some space for them. They want to try and secure the AD on either side here. Teamy actually jumps in on the bot lane. It looks like Krignak is going to be able to catch the kill here. Lover is going to be the the person
Yeah, she's down.
to die. Alright, so first blood goes to Shining Light here. Of course, pleasure to Lover. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 exchange here. I think a slight overextension. But of course, a good response here on the side of Day9. They've managed to secure another kill for themselves.
That is a big pickup. Because of that, they cannot go for the Abyssal Dragon now because the Darcy can actually just rotate the bot lane. So actually, I consider this a really huge win for the side of Day9 because now they can go for the jungle if they want to. Like, Krignock is already forced to go to a blue buff. You've got the Darcy who's getting a blue buff on his side, which is the Abyssal Dragon side. That's right. And he can just go straight for it.
And it looks like AD is going to be going to the side of Day9 here. So advantage to them. There's going to be a 200 goal lead. Bong Bong here. Oh, nice ultimate. Gets the grab, but you know, Bong Bong is
just harassment.
Yeah, just harassment, right? Didn't manage to get the opponent into the tower as it looks like Nui is actually going to be caught here. Looks like Darcy is going to be jumping in, and this is going to be a kill. So much burst here as they secure the AD. This is going to be the third kill for the team. So well done here. Game is slightly slipping away from the side of Lunaris, kind of reminiscent of the first game here. Park Jira here on the Yena actually gets some decent farm. Let's take a look at the items here. So not really a full-fledged item on either side yet.
Oh, one more hit. He could have stolen the mic buff, but it's gonna go to the TV. Although you know it could have been a lot worse getting
Pink
stolen.
Panther actually might fall, but ultimate has been used up. But now the cooldown has been over. Pink Panther actually, I think it's gonna die here. Oh wow, Pink Panther actually makes it out alive. So this is gonna be a 4v2 situation. 4-2, sorry, in terms of scoreline. Of course, advantage still on the side of Day9, just ever so slightly at 300 gold right now. But lanes wise, I think pretty even so far. Nobody has lost the tower yet. Of course, there's going to be a lot of damage happening here on Nui, who's going to pay the price for being in an overextended position here. So it looks like it's going to be 5-2 here, of course, in favor of Day9. Doing very well so far. I haven't really seen the Krignock around the map making some movement.
Well, he did manage to pick up a Roxy in the top lane, so that is a plus point.
Yep.
But I would assume that, you know, Roxy's not really the one he wants to go for. You know, you want to lock down the Liana, maybe pick up the Tiao and slow down their farm because, you know, Roxy's definitely going to do well late game. Either way, she doesn't need too much of farm.
Well, Nap here trying to catch up Lover. Oh, nice stun there. Actually gets it. So can Pink Panther deal enough damage? Not enough here as the flicker is being used. So, oh, nice ultimate, but it doesn't catch enough damage here. So Lover is actually going to make it out unscathed. As we take a look at Sharon, who's trying and mount a tower defense against the side of Lunaris. Bong Bong just burning Pajira down. Didn't get the hook in. So Sharon here, oh no, is unable to save Lover as actually she pays the price. Will she fall as well? Not gonna be so. So it's gonna be a tower exchange for the kill. Pajira gonna be falling as well. 3-6, this is not looking good. Just a 700 gold advantage for a 3-kill advantage so far. But I don't think this is gonna work out the way that Lunaris thinks it's gonna work out so far.
Well, I don't think it's too bad of a trade, right? You do lose your top laner, and you do lose a little bit of the farm as well. But they are catching up, or rather, they are keeping their farm really close to what realme have as compared to the first game. And not only that, the Abyssal Dragon is not taken yet because of their focus on ganking the bot lane time and time again. They can actually keep up with it, but now the next gang of the Krignock is gonna decide the fate of Lunaris. If he doesn't get a better gang off, then you know it's gonna be really bad.
Pink Panther or at least Nui is gonna get caught out here. Oh no, gets caught out. It's gonna be stunning. It's gonna be a 3v1 situation, but Nui has her ultimate, so it's fine. She's gonna make it out safely here. Pink Panther actually gets a Fenris talent at 5 minutes and 5 seconds, so it's not bad of a timing considering the position they're in right now. Cutting waves, of course, by Shining Light, very clever move. So this is gonna push Bong Bong out of position here. Nui has to defend against 3 members of Day9 here. I don't think it's gonna be a proper defense as the tower is gonna be taken out. So right now, first tower to the side of Day9.
But they do a little bit of a trade. They do get the bottom lane as well. The only issue I see with the side,
Shining Light actually doesn't have an ultimate.
yeah,
Use the ultimate at the wrong time here. I mean, great for mobility, but could have caught out Sharon and that would have been a kill.
okay, like I was getting back to the point, like, oh, but I might have to hold that thought. They might just run into Roxy right here once again and try to go for the stun, but I don't think they can find out. Roxy's just way too quick for them. Next fight most likely gonna be the Silver Dragon, and yeah, it's probably gonna go a little bit uncontested. They want to go for the save. I think Cricknut's there to kind of secure it. They will give up the top turret, I would say, if the Telenas wants to go for it. They want to just hang around the Dark Slayer. I'll always come back to the point. The way Sharon's playing is really good for Real9 right now. She's doing all this subtle disruption to Lunaris rotation, which is what makes the draft work for Real9. You see, when Real9 was trying to take the mid tower, Bowden was actually in the jungle, just gonna do a little bit of flip, just slow down the rotation coming from the top lane. And Shining Light, nope, it's bad.
Oh no, Shining Light's gonna pay the price here. A bad rotation. No, actually makes it. No, doesn't make it out in time. And it's not. Probably not gonna blow the ultimate here. Being a bro is not gonna be useful here. I mean, just give them a kill, man. So Pink Panther, the Lone Ranger left on the top tower. Probably not gonna have any more action from the side of Day9. They're just gonna try and force the issue and get the turret as well as take a stack out above. Nui has an ultimate, so she's fine. As 4 members of Day9 gonna collapse on the blue buff, secure it for themselves. Sharon, once again, like you mentioned, just disrupting the game altogether. I think there's a technical issue at this point of time. So let's talk about what has happened so far. And
yeah, I think we might have to go for a little bit of a pause, but I don't think that might be too much of an issue. But
well,
yeah, what do you make of the game one coming into this draft?
I think so far Lunaris actually has shown a better understanding of how this game is gonna roll so far. Still doing okay, while it is a kill deficit of 5, right? A difference of 5, 3-8, still in favor, of course, to Day9. But what they have successfully done is, I think they've secured a lot of space and farm for their Yawn, right? So Pink Panther, I mean, it's only been 2 games, right? We have seen her Valheim, we have seen her Yawn at this point of time. But regardless, I think she is doing a great job with the MMs she has on hand, right? Now the thing about Shining Light is, I feel Shining Light should be a bit more aggressive, but this of course goes in tune with the rotation of the team. So Shining Light has made some good rotations, has gotten the kills, but as an assassin like Cricknut, in comparison to a champion like Rogue or Darcy even in this particular game, I think Cricknut should be on top of the kill list, right?
Yeah, I think Cricknut definitely does need to be a lot more proactive, especially in the early game. We have seen a lot of Cricknuts that do really well, especially in the opening 5 minutes, because that is where Cricknut shines the most, right? The ability to just go in, burst a hero up, but instead what we see the Cricknut on the side for
on the map.
For Lunaris,
Snowball, right?
She's constantly trying to cut those waves, trying to get the kill to Roxy, and I mean, it's all good when you get a kill, you don't really give too much farm away, you slow down that offlaner, but she's not that core that you want. You want the mage, you want the MM, you want to slow down those, momentum getters on the opposite side, and on the same end, allow your own core heroes to farm way out of control. But, you take off a Roxy, you don't get a tower in exchange. That is just a wasted gang, in my opinion.
Well, I think we have to put one more factor into consideration. Well, with Tawanas lane being the bottom lane, right, which is closer towards the AD, I think it is a good concept to try and rush towards the Roxy lane at the top, because that kind of forces rotations to the top, which regardless of whether you get a kill on Roxy, I think that's not a matter, but you secure space for the rest of the team to go and secure the AD instead, right? So I think that might be one of the considerations why they haven't been ganking Tawanas, which it's kind of a give and take kind of thing. Personally, I would rush the Cricknut to go and kill the Tawanas as many times as possible. Perhaps with a numbers deficit, you wouldn't risk having a team fight at the AD on a 4v5 situation, right? So I mean, this is perhaps one of the things that they are thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are having a little bit of an extended pause right here. Just want to get the game back to you as fast as possible. Meanwhile, we do have the updated scores for the rest of the games. If I can just pull them up for you right now. For those who have actually missed out the other games, Swedenwood, obviously we saw them manage to go up against Space Gamer Mamazita, but unfortunately for them, and or rather, good news from Space Gamer Mamacita. They are our first semi-finalists, and they will play against the winners of Pink Phoenix and Raventail. That is going to be our first semi-finals. That's going to be happening tomorrow. Now we have Holy Pixel up against Buriram United Esports, and the winner of that's going to go up against Seven Treasure, which is actually our next quarterfinals. But now the game between Lunaris and Day9 realme, which unfortunately we are having an extended pause for now, trying to get the game up and running for you. But more importantly, what do you think, or rather, who do you think is going to be or out of the game so far, who do you think is going to be the team to watch?
Well, depending on how it's going to be played out between SGM and the rest of the teams like Lunaris and Day9, I think a Day9 against SGM, based on what we have seen so far, I think I would go with SGM, man. SGM seems really, really strong. They have a good understanding of their drafts. They do communicate as a team properly. And I think so far, both teams they have played against, right? So, Sweetie Mood as well as Etherpod, they have done pretty well. They have maintained this dominance in terms of not only lane dominance, the jungle creeps dominance, the AD dominance, as well as the TS dominance, right? They've secured all the objectives, and I mean, it's really difficult to do it.
So. Yeah, I think it's about consistency throughout the board, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we can't get back into the game, so we'll try to give the results to you really quick to see what will be the result, or rather the verdict on that game itself. But yep, Lunaris and Day9 realme will update the score really soon, and the winner of that is going to go up against Mary Jane, obviously with Day9 having game 1 in hand. If Lunaris can come back in game 2, we will have our third game. If not, the winner of that is going to go up against Mary Jane. So yeah, we will go into a short little bit ad break, but when we are back, we'll bring you more AoV for the FSL Circuit 2020.